amazing how many photos that we take that end up being absolute trash. I am 1 week into my digital decluttering journey, and I'm so happy to have you along for the ride. If you want to figure out how to declutter your digital world and take your affinity for minimalism to the next level in terms of taking it from like the physical things you see around you into your digital realm, then make sure to follow along with my journey as I declutter my digital space. So photos is a huge thing that I know I have to work on, and by doing this, by allotting a certain amount of time each day to kind of work on my digital decluttering, I can work towards the ultimate goal, which is to just have everything organized and streamlined and in a nice way without being overwhelmed by the project, because really the amount of stuff that I have on my computers and my iPads and my phones is just like, it's insane. So I really just want to work a little bit a day, if I have the time, in order to get things to where I need them to be. That said, photo decluttering can be a huge way to get into the mindset of decluttering other things in your digital realm. The other great thing is that you always have your phone on you, and no matter if you're on an iPhone or an Android, you have your photos with you because they're in your phone. So you can literally do this whenever you're sitting waiting for a doctor's appointment, or a couple minutes before your bedtime routine, like wherever you find those pockets of time where you would normally open up Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or something like that and mindlessly scroll. You can make an active and concerted effort to decrease the amount of cloud storage that you need, so that maybe you don't have to spend as much on cloud storage, or maybe it'll free up more space on your phone. Another time when I like to do this is in between meetings, when I don't have a substantial amount of time to get any sort of meaningful work done. I can just pop onto my phone or my iCloud stream or whatever and get on there and get rid of some of these photos. Let's talk about what to delete. Obviously, we want to get rid of any blurry photos, especially if you have kids or any sort of person or animal in your life that moves a lot, and if you're trying to take a good picture of them, you're going to have blurry photos. You're going to have photos that are poorly lit, etc., and just aren't good photos that you would have printed out and displayed on your wall. Why keep them in your photo library if every time you look at them you're like, oh, this is kind of a bad photo? Get rid of blurry photos, obviously. I also get rid of photos that I have pushed to my phone in order to upload it to social media. So if I have like a set of Instagram stories that I've designed on my computer to push to my photo library so that I can push it to Instagram, I don't need to have those in my photo library because they're already stored on my computer in the graphic editor that I use. Another thing that we can get rid of are photos that we don't even know why you took a photo of it. I most likely took a photo of like a random rock or something at a restaurant so that I could send it to somebody, but I don't actually need it for future reference, so you can get rid of those photos. And a lot of times when you're, again, trying to take a good photo of a person or an animal, you'll have a whole series of photos that you've taken in order to get that one good photo. And that's what photographers do, right? They take 200 photos to have one good photo. So you want to get rid of the other 199 because they're just taking up space. And let's face it, you're only really gonna put a heart on that one photo that you like and let it be, and you can get rid of the rest. Another thing that you might have in common with me is that sometimes my kids like to steal my phone or my tablet and then take multiple selfies of themselves, and I'll open up my photo library later and then I'll have a wall of goofy selfies. And yes, I will keep some of them because they're hilarious, but other ones I don't need, especially the ones that are blurry or that are like those like shaky videos, etc. Those are all things we can get rid of. So what you do by going through your photos is you not only will clean out your photo library and save more room on your iPhone or your cloud storage, etc. You'll also figure out, and if you're like anything like me, you'll figure out that you've used your camera as an inbox of sorts for things to remember to do or check out later that you never got around to doing because you don't make it a point to go back in your photos and look at everything that you took a photo of. Your photo feed might act like an inbox, and if you don't clean it out regularly, it will just kind of disappear into the ether, and that's not something that we want, right? right? So, like for example, if you come across something that you like in a store or a magazine and you take a photo of it, instead of keeping it in your photo roll, what you can do is you can upload it to Pinterest, you can upload it to your Notion inspiration board, whatever you want, just so that you have it somewhere else, and then you can delete it off of your photo stream. Same thing with writing ideas. A lot of times, or writing or art ideas, I'll take a picture of something that I like aesthetically or a passage in a book that I really want to remember and process later. But then in going through these things, yes, it does take a little bit more time rather than just hitting the delete button, but I'll process it in Notion to make sure it goes into my second brain, or I'll process it by uploading it to a certain Pinterest board or a certain photo album, so that when I'm looking for drawing inspiration or writing inspiration, it is in those places where I will look instead of having to sift through a bunch of photos. And yes, you want to delete them after you've moved them out of your photo library. The other thing is things that you wanted to send to a friend but just forgot to in that minute. You know, it's kind of like a latergram thing or whatever you want to call it. Send it to your friend, be like, hey, I saw this, even if it's like months ago, I saw this like a year ago and I thought of you and I meant to send it to you and I never did it. They will love getting it from you. Send it and then delete it. And the last thing is photos of things that you've taken that are kind of personal or weird, like for example, my son has a rash, right? And I want to take a photo of it to document it for the doctor. But those are things that you want to keep or may need to keep for a reference, but you don't necessarily want to see those things when you're scrolling through memories, or that photos would bring up and say like, hey, a year ago you took this photo, and you're like, I don't really want to see a picture of a rash or something like that. So what you can do, and what I do, is I put it into another app that will allow me to document those things without it being in my main photo feed. So for example, I use Day One Journal app, which I've used for, gosh, what, almost 9 years at this point. So I have created a special folder or a special journal specifically for like my health issues that I have. I want to keep a document of that in there, and then they will be tagged to the date, and I will be able to add more description if needed. And for my kids, I will add photos of them for specific reasons into a specific kids journal, so that I will be able to reference that later, say if I'm at the doctor with them, or if it's just something funny they said, I can just put that in there and then let it be and delete it from my photos library. I would love to know where you're at in terms of photo decluttering on your personal device. I hope these tips were helpful. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you next week.